live because I forgot the book we just read. No, I'm just kidding. I think
It'll be good. Hey everybody, sorry we were chit-chatting, so we took a few minutes, but we're here for our final Circle of Magic live stream. I tried really hard to get everyone together, and then Ashley had a sick child, and
yeah.
unfortunately, but we have three of us tonight.
Yes.
Yeah, guess who showed up?
Hey Bree. So we're gonna talk about Shatterglass, but also Bree. We're so impressed. You like went and oh god, the book. Went and like caught up on everything.
Marathon. Yeah.
I did. I read, what did I read? 3 books in 48 hours?
Listen, it's pretty impressive.
It had to get done. It had to. I was like, they're not gonna embarrass me and be like, Bree is the one who signed up for shit and she ain't doing it. I was like, no, I'm not gonna be embarrassed like this. No.
No, you're good. You did it. Well, what did you think? I mean, since I mean we're mostly gonna talk about Shatterglass, but like you just read like the other books too.
Oh yeah. So I think I'm gonna give book 2 a 5-star. Um and this is, hold on, remind me. Is this Deja? Briar, yes. I'm going to give that one a 5-star mainly because I was very impressed with his skills of being a mentor and being able to relate and understanding, and also teaching him like how to meditate and how your emotions connected to your power. I really love that. Then the
Yeah.
next one we had Deja, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
When Deja was like, there is no way I'm going back without you. You are not going to not have a home, a family, a place to be. When she said that to her mentor, I was dead. And Ben need his ass whooped because he tricked us all. So that's really how I. And then Shatterglass, we're here to talk about that today.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was a good synopsis. I feel like I was all over the place.
No,
No,
I
that
loved
was
it.
great. That was great. I
Hit
love
the
it. I love it.
highlights.
Yes. Hello. Yes, Bree is in fact a reading rock star.
I tried.
Absolutely.
I tried.
I read most of this today. I think I had read like 36 pages before today. This was my day.
This
Yeah, what did you guys think? How did we do with Shatterglass? Triss's
it's a 3 or a 4. Mainly because of the pace. Nothing else.
okay.
Interesting. So I loved it. And I actually found it very consistently engaging for me.
Oh.
I also don't tend to be bothered by pacing issues though, so that's probably part of it. But yeah, I love Triss. Like every time I read one of these books, I think I've said this before. It's like you're my favorite main character, and then I read another one and I'm like, maybe you're my favorite main. Like
Yeah.
I
I'm
love all of them.
wishy-washy too. I
Yeah,
am.
yeah. And I also I'm really impressed with the way that with this sequel series, Tamora Pierce has like believably had these kids like develop and become more mature, but they also still feel like themselves, you know? Like I am so impressed at how Triss has had to get her temper under control, but
Oh.
also she will still tell somebody off when they need it. Like
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
anytime she finally is like, all right, I've given you enough patience, let me whip out my magic braids and my
The braids are
medallion.
coming
Yeah.
down.
When like Keth or Keith, I don't know how you say it, when he like runs out the door, he's like, sorry, it just scares me when you touch your hair. He's like, no offense, I'm sure it's nice hair. Okay, bye. Like he's
And I was like, same. And I'm reading it.
I
Same.
love it. I love it. I love when Triss makes grown men cry. Like, what can I say?
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed this one a lot too, honestly. I can see the pacing thing, I guess. Like it is like you know, but I didn't mind it. I
Yeah.
was like I was having a really good time with it. I also just think this is interesting in terms of finding different ways to do like magical investigation. I just think it's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
creative.
Yeah.
It's cool. Like you had the globes and they had to wait for them to like clear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was
I
like,
thought
you
that
could have
was
made
cool.
that a whole series.
Mhm.
And also like I never thought about how Triss's magic is like incredibly powerful, but it'd be really hard to make a living with it. I was like, I never thought about that, but
Well,
that's
at
so
least
true.
ethically.
Ethically, right? Because she doesn't want to just destroy ecosystems.
Right.
Yeah, I can see how, like, looking back at it, I can see how this book had more repetitive parts because it was kind of a lot of like, okay, is he going to be able to like make one of the globes and all that? But I think I
Right.
was just so invested in the characters and the setting was really interesting and like I wanted them to solve the mystery. Like I didn't even notice it was repetitive until I was done.
Yeah. Well, this one too, I'm guessing is maybe based on like caste systems you would find in like some I guess it's things seem to have changed somewhat, but it's still to a certain extent, like in parts of India, I think, have
Hmm.
kind of this sort of caste system.
Yeah. And the setting seemed more like ancient Greece to me, like a lot of the words and like
Mm,
the clothing descriptions and things like that. But yeah, the caste system was
mhm,
interesting.
I didn't even put that together. I was like, I know I'm in a different place and it's different than the other books.
mhm.
I couldn't. Okay, maybe that was it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's like it's one of those kinds of things, but I just thought it was interesting because you have like the performers and then
Hmm.
I don't remember what they Prathmundi, something.
Right, like the Untouchables
The
is
Untouchable sort of, which
yeah,
also that I mean, it sounded kind of almost like an Hindi-ish word, so I'm guessing this is maybe inspired by India.
right. Well, and I think, I mean, if I'm remembering correctly, I think that that is the same, like the translation, I mean, that is Untouchable. I think that is what that cast is. At least I
Oh,
remember when I was learning about it in school, like years
okay.
ago,
Now I
that
want to know
yeah, I
what
think it
is
was
the
Untouchables.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't know. I'm just here to put a cream cheese on a cracker and listen. I know that's right.
No, 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 no. They're the Dalit.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I said it very confusingly. I mean
What?
that the English translation of whatever it was, I remember that we learned it in school as the Untouchables were the
Yeah.
lowest class, and they used that same word in Shatterglass, which
Yeah.
feels intentional.
Yeah.
Um,
I think
yeah.
that's yeah. Keep thinking young readers would finish and say, "Mom, I want to see someone making glass." Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the little glass dragon.
Oh,
Ah!
he is probably the reason why it's a 4. When he and then Trish is so cocky when she saved him. She was like, he knows what's up. Essentially. And he just wrapped his little tail around her neck.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I want a dragon.
Yeah.
Been thinking
Yeah.
about doing a dragon vlog, but that might be too much.
That'd
I
be fun.
also loved what's the little girl's name? Glocky? Something like that. Gaki?
Gaki, Goki. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't even
I
remember.
loved seeing Triss interact with her and like I
Mhm.
just every time we see these main characters interact with other kids, it's like it is so obvious that they want to make sure nobody has their childhood if they can avoid it and it
Oh
Yeah.
just
yeah.
it's
Mhm.
so beautiful and like when
Yeah.
Triss like cuz she's very prickly obviously, but she's really loving and she also understands the difference between like snapping at an adult versus like a kid, you know, like
Right.
when like she catches on very quickly that Glocky's afraid that Triss's anger is directed at her and she's like, "No, like this is not
It's
about
not
you."
about you. Yeah.
Yeah, which I just love it.
Yeah. No, I like that too. Well, I also just think it's so funny that her student is a full-grown adult,
Yeah.
which is kind of perfect for Tris too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that she keeps him in line. Like,
She does.
she
um,
does.
Well, but you see her
Does.
growth, right? Because the fact
yeah.
that she lets him make some of his own mistakes and is like, "Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
sure, go off then."
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to get the books mixed up, but the little girl, ain't she? Wasn't there a scene when she was like, "I thought you were afraid of me," and she was like, "No, I'm not." Am I? Am I right? Is
Yes.
this
Yeah.
book right?
I think so.
Oh, that part just warmed my heart. I said, oh, not the babies loving you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good time. I'm glad I was in the right book, yo. It was getting scary.
Yeah. Well, you've been reading a lot of them, so it's all right.
Yeah, it would be understandable if you mix things up. I find it really funny, that part where I mean, like, Triss, when she's doing her like wind vision thing and she almost passes out multiple times, which would be
Yeah.
very scary for everyone around her. But like one of the times it happens where like Dima shows up and she's like, "Are you crying?" And he's like, "No." She's like, "Pull yourself together." It's like,
Come on, dude.
I love it.
Oh my gosh. Well, it is kind of funny too. It's like the whole time she's telling him, "You need to rest. Don't push yourself so
Yes.
hard." And I'm like, Triss,
Yeah.
take your own advice.
Yeah. And like Nico has to finally like say that to her, and she's like, "I hate it when you're right." Like,
Yeah.
And then she sleeps for 5 days when it's all
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
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 Oh my
Like
goodness.
as she's blacking out, she's like, "Oh, I hope they think to check here." Probably would scare everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I really
When that
like
part
how
happened, I was like, were you not going to think about letting somebody know what you're doing and where you're at?
yeah.
Oh, when she was chasing after,
Mm-hmm.
or she like smacked into him basically. She
Yeah.
wasn't even like planning it. Yeah, that was.
I was like, girl, don't just die. I'm like, are they gonna find her? Are we getting another perspective after this?
Yeah. I do think it's interesting too at the end. Like nothing, like things aren't fixed at the end of the
Mhm.
book,
Mm-mm.
but there's a potential pathway for some improvement.
Yeah.
Which I think is also interesting that Tamora Pierce does that way, where it's like there's not a magical political fix for the social problems, but it's like you can see a way forward.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think it's also more effective as a satisfying ending because it feels more possible.
Mhm.
Yeah. Everyone asking Triss, like, how did they know in advance what was happening? And she's like, "I'm not even gonna lie to you. You know this." Like, what are you gonna do about it, Nico? Like,
A bull.
She has very little patience for most people.
yeah. But not in a way that makes it unpleasant to follow her.
No.
Like, cause she, yeah. I think because underneath she is such a like caring person, and again she is very like aware of who can take it and who can't or shouldn't. Yeah. I love her. I love
Yeah.
Triss.
I thought it was interesting when she was trying to scry and she kept seeing these things that she was like, this is meaningless. But we know from reading the other books that she was seeing like scenes from her friends' lives. I thought that was fun.
She's like, how did this messy garden have anything to do with Briar? It's like, well, when he was catching a bunch of murderers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of ties it all together. I don't
Yeah.
know. It was nice. I think it's cool how she made this whole quartet all murder mysteries, but in really
Yeah.
different ways.
Yeah.
Or
And she didn't hold back, especially in Briar's one. A person was dying every 10 minutes, it felt like.
yeah.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I think we talked about this when we were discussing that one, but Bree, now you'll have like thoughts on it. That part where like Briar sees those flowers and he's like, "What is she feeding you?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, the corpses are there."
Yes.
Terrifying.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, and then when he was recalling all their names, and I was just like, oh, this is the one from that one. I was like, sir, no.
Mm-hmm.
And then every time somebody said, you ain't even do what you're supposed to do for the gang. And they were like, and then he came behind the door with a rope and it was around her neck. And I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Tamora Pierce did not hold back in these. Like I was actually surprised that Yali died. um that she,
Yeah,
because we had spent so much time with her.
yeah,
But I mean, it makes sense that she would because she was alone, but it's just, yeah,
sad.
it was really sad.
Yeah, you just don't know what you're gonna get. It is interesting kind of looking at all four books because, you have people who are doing things for really different reasons. Um, it's like we've got somebody who's like a serial killer who's got privilege and is on a power trip. And then we've got like two very traumatized killers who are like, one thinks they're like saving the world, and one is just like angry and wants revenge.
Yeah.
I knew it was Ben right away. I don't know. It just right away.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Well, I think as an adult, we talked about this when we did the live, that like as an adult, it's pretty clear. But I can remember reading this as a kid and being shocked.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like as soon as one of the other characters said like, "Oh, it's lucky we had that fire to practice," I was like, oh, "Okay, yeah,
Mhm.
Ben's doing this." But I did doubt myself because the first like perspective that we get from him, we don't know technically that it's him, and I thought maybe it could have been his teacher because of the way things were worded. So like I did still doubt myself even though I was pretty sure. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I think also like one of the things that I think is really interesting about these murder mysteries that she's done is that they feel very like real world scary. Um like with Shatterglass, it's like being a woman alone,
Yeah.
and or especially if you're, in a certain area or in a lower class. Um and in Dasha's book, it was more like somebody who you are close with, somebody who turning out to be this kind of horrible person. In Briar's, it was like, oh, the rich and powerful who can literally
Yeah.
kill
It's like somebody
people
who
and
has
nobody.
power over you.
Yeah. So I think that's really interesting as well, that like the crimes involve magic, but the reason that they hit the reader so hard is that it's not like this could
Yeah.
only happen in a fantasy book,
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and I guess with like
Put that
Sandry,
you.
it's like organized crime,
mhm.
taking advantage of, people who don't have much. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's interesting.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the magic in this one. I think it's
Mhm.
cool, and I like the glass blowing
Yeah.
stuff. It's neat. I don't know.
I don't know. I wish we got more stuff with the dragon, man.
Okay, but that scene where she like figured out a way to get her wind to like lift her through the middle of a tower, that
Yeah.
was so cool. I was like seeing that in my head. I was like,
Yes.
that's awesome.
Yes.
Hitting them with the wow. Look at
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. And when Nico is like calling her on the fact that she's been, using a lot of power and using a lot of her like reserves and everything, and she's like, "No, I was just doing the investigating." And she's like, "Okay, yeah, I did fly. That was like
I mean, but
that
only
happened
once.
just once." Yeah. Um
Yep.
yeah. I like how a lot of the like adult characters, like their mentors are great pretty much like across the board, which I love. I love
Yeah.
these kids finally getting some good adults in their life.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's really interesting that I feel like most of the books, a lot of the adults are kind of a mix of like good and bad qualities rather than like, oh, this is one who's going to be like an obstacle for them. Like this is one
Yeah.
who's going to be always on their side. It's like Keth can be kind of obnoxious, but also he is a good person and he's one of the only people who genuinely cares about the fact that these women are getting murdered. And then
Yeah.
with Demo or Dima, um, with him, it's like he's one of the only high class people who actually cares, but also the way he goes about it, like he's still like, oh well, we have to torture the untouchables
I
because
mean, what else would you do?
everybody knows they lie, and it's like so it feels much more realistic to
I'm
have
so
like
impressed that you know the names.
I mean, I just finished the book, so it's not as impressive, but thank you.
No, I just finished the book too, and look at me.
It's fair.
Yeah, Sophia.
Shay, hi.
Hi.
I lost track of time. I was an hour
How could you,
You're good.
Shay? How could you?
first.
It's okay.
I don't know if we can forgive you now.
Never. No.
I'm just kidding. Hi, Shay. I've missed you.
welcome.
Hi.
Haven't
I've missed you
seen
too.
Haven't seen you in
Yeah.
a while.
I know, it has been a minute, hasn't it?
It's been a long time, isn't it? No, I'm just kidding. I was trying to give an accent, and I think
So yeah, I agree with this. This quartet is older, middle grade. Wouldn't want a younger preteen reading about what strangulation victim looks. Well, I guess yeah. I mean, it depends. I mean, middle grade is what, like 8 to 12.
Yeah, they would in a bookstore we say like 12, 13, depending on their maturity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like a 11, 12-year-old could read this. Honestly.
Again, as long as a parent feels like their kid could handle it, they're fine.
Yeah. But I do think it ages up, but I think that's the point, is that you're supposed to sort of like grow up with the series, because the first quartet is younger.
And I definitely agree with Sophia that like I don't think the younger end of middle grade could just jump from the first series right into this one.
no.
Like, it does feel pretty different.
Yeah.
do we have a series that go from like middle grade to adult?
Yeah. Her Alana series does, the Song of the Lioness Quartet. It goes from, she's like 9 in book
Does it Wild
1
Magic as well?
and like 21 in book 4.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even remember her age.
Yeah.
I just got, well, not just got, probably like 8 months now, but my friend bought me the whole series. It's still in the plastic.
And they just did new box sets again for Alana. So.
Oh, they did? Oh.
They're really good. Yeah, no, she's like 9, 10 in book 1 and like in like about around 20 in the last book.
Wow, that's why I was getting more steamy.
Yeah.
Yes. She's an adult. Like
she said I might let him hit it, I don't know.
Yeah.
I said,
but like nothing really happens until she's like over 16 though.
Yeah.
So she's like, it's pretty but yeah, no, those are great books. I want the new paperbacks. They're so pretty.
They are pretty.
Okay, so not the brown ones?
No. Here, I'll pull them up.
They just did new covers.
I don't need 2 sets, Bree. I don't need 2 sets, Bree. I don't need 2 sets. I don't need 2 sets.
That's right. Sure.
I don't need 2 sets.
So Shay, what did you think of this last one?
Yeah.
Well, all of it has just been fantastic. Let's be honest here. All of it is just so stinking good.
It is.
Again, I agree with Sophia that it does age up, but it does that intentionally. And I feel like we've grown so much with the characters from book 1 to now that it's nice to see these long growth periods. Because I feel like sometimes in kids that gets lost, or, they're following animals, not humans. So they're harder to relate long term. So when you think of something like the Warrior Cat series and things like that are popular for kids, or, they're only in it for 3 or 4 books and then they kind of stay the same age and keep up the same shenanigans, or, like Diary of a Wimpy Kid, like there's like, 18 of those books and
he's
like
going to be in elementary
all of them
his whole life. Yeah.
He said, I'm not growing up.
Yeah.
So the fact that these kids are growing and aging, and you see like the way their friendships are, you see the queerness that's just casually there, and we love it all around.
Yeah. I love a multi-book character arc. Like I eat it
It
up.
is the
I love
best.
it.
I like it too.
This is why I read manga series, because I get to stay with them for a long time usually.
Yes.
Well, I think it's good for kids too, because they can grow with it, but also they can like project what their future might be like. And I feel like I don't know, like I think there's something about it
I just wish series like this were easier for kids to get their hands on now,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
because things like this could easily replace things like the works of She Who Shall Not Be Named.
Yeah.
That
Yeah. 'Cause
kind
I
of
feel
gives
like
the
there's
kids a
no
similar
audiobooks.
experience, but it's much better,
Yes.
even though it was written long before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are just my feelings and thoughts. And
Right.
Yeah.
I do think it's been interesting having a kid who's reading middle grade myself now, because like my oldest is gonna be 10 next year, and I've been a little I don't know, I've been a little surprised, I guess, at how advanced the types of things he's wanting to read. I mean, it's not, completely unreasonable, but I think I had it in mind that some of the older middle grade, I'm like, oh, well, that like you would be quite a bit older before you'd read this, and I'm finding no, not really. Like, I'm like, no, it's like right around you start hitting like fourth, fifth grade, like the things they're talking about and thinking about. I mean, I don't know.
so those are the new Alana covers.
No! No!
They're really pretty. I really
They
like
are.
them.
Why would you show me this, Shay? What do I gotta do to
have to
send you
show
some
you. It's too
points?
pretty to not show you. Plus, I'm a bookseller. It's my job to sell books.
It is.
So
You're doing your
look,
job
I'm
very
gonna
well.
tell you this. What if I Venmo'd you a little 2020 and then you get the discount? Send them to your girl.
Yeah. You know what? I'm just gonna like.
Cause wow.
Oh, what? They have them in hardcover too?
No, Shay, listen. Venmo is alive and well. Hardcover? You know I love my books hardcover. I don't like
They're really expensive. You know what though?
I don't like the floppy titty.
I'm gonna just like put them on my wish list.
And see what happens.
Yeah, the hardcover box set is $88.
I'm
so
putting it on my wish list right now.
Do it.
Why not?
Do it.
Wait, hold on. What am I looking up again?
Song
It's
of the
the
Lioness
Song of the
Quartet is what
Lioness
it's called.
Quartet.
Song of the Line. Because I keep calling it Alana First Series. I'm like, girl.
They are really expensive, so I don't know.
They're gorgeous.
They are beautiful.
Stunning.
It is.
Oh.
You know what though? Is I also sometimes shop for myself off my wish list. Like sometimes I'm like,
I do
let me
too,
put this
all the time.
there, and then
I
maybe
do
one
that.
day I'll decide I'm gonna treat myself.
Right.
Wait, where's the hardcover box set? I don't see it.
So
I know
they
it
look
has a
the
hardcover
same,
option
but
on Barnes
there's
and
an
Noble.
option if you go to the listing.
Oh, if I go to the option. I was
Yeah.
just staring at it like, hello.
Mhm.
Wow.
Here, I can just drop a link for you.
Mhm.
Shay, are you working on commission for this series
Yeah.
specifically?
No,
Like-
I wish.
Yes, I
I
swear
wish.
she is.
Oh my gosh. No, they're really
Oh,
good.
wow.
Now we need Scholastic to put this stuff
I know,
back
to
in
get
print,
their shit together.
right?
Clearly. They're
Like, come
clearly
on.
they're hanging out.
And that's, I guess, the
with
problem is that this series is owned by a different publisher.
Yeah.
You're sitting on gold.
I
Yeah,
know.
like, I don't understand. It's like the Alana series has gotten so many new covers that like clearly it's still doing well.
Yeah.
Why would you
Mhm.
not like you could even do like in a similar style so that when people have already read the Alana books, they're like,
Mm.
"Oh, this author has more books? Great."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't
Like-
wait for my
like,
little
just my
niece to
name.
hit middle school. I'm giving her that set.
Yay.
There you go.
I love it.
I think I
There
interrupted.
might be a new cover by then. Who knows?
yeah,
There
yeah.
might-
I
At the
do
rate
like
they take
these.
covers.
I think these are some of the best covers we've gotten in a long time, though.
Wow.
Oh, agreed. I mean, the last set with the brown wasn't a bad set. It's pretty in its own way,
Mhm.
but I think there are prettier versions out there. And I think the new
Uh-huh.
set is a really nice set.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
are nice.
Kara, I'm sorry I interrupted you. What were you saying?
I don't know. Was I saying something?
You were. I interrupted you to talk about my niece, and I was like, did I interrupt?
Oh, I think I had finished, so you're fine. If I think of something that I meant
Okay.
to say, we can
Bring it back around.
circle
Bring it
back.
back.
But
Circle
yeah.
back for sure.
Oh, I
Um,
think I was just saying, like, even financially, it doesn't make sense for them to not reissue them. Like they
no,
would easily make money back on it. So
yeah,
Oh,
that's
easily.
yeah.
There's no way I'd have been sitting on it. I'm like, y'all
yeah.
gonna have to, who's in the back that does the designs?
Yeah. Well, and they
Get
won't give
to
her
it.
her rights back either, so it's not
They
like she
won't.
can. No.
No.
Yeah.
There's some drama.
That's sketchy.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Didn't Kylie Garrett have to fight like that for the rights for her day series?
Maybe.
I think she did. It was on the Instagram.
Oh, see, this is interesting because, like, I feel like I don't love the way they did it on the cover because I think it's not really what I would imagine because, like, she has bigger braids and
Uh-huh.
smaller braids, whereas these are
Right.
all like one size on the cover,
Oh, let's see.
you know?
Yeah. I thought the same thing is like clearly she has different sizes and they're in different places and on the cover at least on the cover I had, which I think is the one you
Yeah.
had, Bethany, it's like
This one.
they're all small braids and some of them are just pinned
Mhm.
differently.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to say the cover I looked
Oh,
ain't no braids.
oh, see, it's like this. I don't know if you can see,
Oh, okay.
but it's like they're like all small. I do like how
Yeah.
they're like, that you see how she's pinned them and stuff. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
they tried. Also, like Triss is not thin either, and like this cover
Yeah.
didn't do
Again,
justice.
covers of their time.
Yeah. Like
It's
I think
true.
the most they did is they're like, we'll give her a more billowy dress so that
Right.
Yeah.
you can imagine she might
Yeah.
be plus
Okay.
size.
Lordy.
Yeah.
Uh,
But
yeah.
again, I think Tamora was writing a lot of representation before other people were
Oh, for
because kids
sure.
Yeah.
needed to read it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's
And
very
I,
true.
And I will forever appreciate her for writing it.
no, straight.
Yeah.
In my like review, I was saying like how, oh my God, I had it. I lost it. Anyway, let me think about it.
Oh, sorry.
No,
It's
no,
okay.
no, I lost it. Oh, I was saying how I like the way she explained stuff in the book without drawing a lot of attention to it. It just felt like it went with the natural flow. Like she would
Mhm.
be like, "Oh, that black man over there had to go and pick this up," and then Trish looked, and then it like the story continues. There's no
That's
he
just
was
it.
chocolate
It's
Yeah.
all
dripping
of
from the
the
like,
Yeah.
it's done in a casual
casual
way
Yeah.
where
way.
it's still like calling it out and saying
Yeah,
that it's there
yes,
without necessarily being like overly preachy or political about it. It's
Right.
yeah,
just life.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
that's how it should always be. And I
yeah.
like that that's what kids are reading. I mean, a lot of us read it when we were younger.
Yeah.
And I think that's why our age groups are more open and accepting, generally speaking, because we had authors like this that were, you know, giving us those things that we didn't even realize how badly we need until now.
Yeah.
Like
And
when you think about it, like it's insane. It's so great.
yeah.
I
I
was about to
also really
cry.
like oh, I really like too how she really avoids doing like the bad culture and the good culture sort of thing. Like it's
Yes.
always more complicated than that.
Yeah.
Like with Daja's books,
Mm-hmm.
we see that the way that the traders view like outsiders or people who work with their hands, like they really look down on them. But we also see the really good things about her culture, and we see Daja realize that there are parts that she can hold on to, while
Mhm.
also recognizing that
That there are
maybe they're
parts that she
not
can let go.
yeah, that maybe they're not always right about everything or they're not always like treating people the way they should. And even with this fourth book and like obviously the many issues there are with the different classes here, it is interesting to see like that one like head priestess or whoever who ends up
Mhm.
talking to Dima, and she outright tells him almost like, hey, you solve this murder and I'll see what I can do about
Yeah.
like just balancing the religious ritual with like, okay, but we also need to be able to prosecute like
Right.
criminals.
Yeah.
So I really like that consistently in all these books you don't ever really find a culture or like a group of people where it's like these are the bad ones. Like,
No.
yeah.
But also
Because
nobody is just like purely good either.
Yeah.
Everybody has problems.
Yeah.
because that is real life.
Mhm.
Yep.
Everybody has different things that they struggle with, different nuances, and
Yeah.
that's something that I love about Tamora Pierce in general.
Yeah.
Like all of her series really do this, but this one in particular, I feel like did it even better, and I love
Yeah.
it for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree. Yeah. I'm trying to think what else about this. Yeah. I love the dragon. The dragon's hilarious. I love that they like made
Like, how can we
pendants
not love
out
a
of like
dragon?
the dragon vomit and poop.
I'm like the only creature that has like cute like
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I
Because
kept
you would
thinking
never ever
sparkles.
think that. But she's just like, okay, here's a little sprinkle of fun for you. And I'm
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's funny.
I also
like it.
like that even though this like sequel series, it's like even though all of the books are about like the main character training their first student, that it
Yeah.
happens in really different ways. Like it doesn't
Mhm.
feel repetitive. Like I found it really refreshing that um Keth almost immediately, because he's a craftsman, he knows that you have to be careful when you're working with dangerous things. It's like he's like, all right, I'm ready to train my magic, let's do this. Like I
Mhm.
want to get good at it so I can go back to doing what I actually want to do. And I just
Yeah.
like that we don't always have like the reluctant student who has to be like coerced practically into
Right.
learning.
Well, that's the thing.
Mhm.
It's like I was surprised. It's like once he acknowledged what was going on, he was like, all right, I guess I better go find a teacher then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
I also really I mean I'd be interested to see someone who shared the same identity, but I also thought the disability rep was mentioned in a way that wasn't like negative language to my
Mhm.
knowledge, I will
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. No, I think so. With like recovering and dealing with like
Mhm.
speech, needing like speech therapy and
Yeah. Because it felt to me like just because you have a disability don't also mean that you can't have magic.
Mhm.
yeah.
You can't be a magical person. You can't
Right.
access
And it
to
makes me feel like she knows someone who struggled with speech and had to go through speech therapy and things. And so she wanted kids who go through that to be seen.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That
And
is
I
just something
also
she just like had magic with all of
But
her stuff.
also, like,
Like,
she
yeah.
really makes the point that, like, he thinks magic is just gonna be, like, fix everything, and,
Yeah.
like, he has to learn
mhm.
that, no, magic does not just fix everything.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
No,
like, you
magic is
mean
not that kind of
No.
magic.
right. He's like, you
Would be
mean my
nice.
problems are more complicated
Yeah.
now? And Tristan's like, exactly.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
welcome to the world. Yeah.
Welcome to the world. Welcome to the reality of life.
Yeah. I thought it really was well done and it made a lot of sense that Keth was so frustrated because like I can't imagine, I mean I can't imagine because it's like written like this, but it's like being an expert in your craft and then overnight being like not even able to do the basics. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
even though he obviously was not super uh respectful of Triss initially, I feel like his anger and his frustration, it made a lot of sense. Like this
Yeah.
is like he's an adult and he's already done the hard work of getting good at this, and so then to be just stripped of that for something that was not his fault, you know? So I
Yeah.
thought that made a lot of sense as well. And I was so happy for him when he started like getting it back and getting
Yeah.
better. Like when he made like
Mhm.
his first like vase or whatever, I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh,
But I think that's the beauty of it. The beauty of um her having someone like that in her life, because she also had some anger she had to
Yes.
Oh
work
yeah.
on. She had to work on patience. She even talked about like, oh, I gotta work on patience, you
Yeah.
know. But it's like sometimes you gotta meet someone who's your equal in order
Yeah.
to understand that there's something that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
I love the moment where Keth is first brought in for not even it wasn't even going to be questioning. They're like, "You're the murderer. You're coming with us." And she's like, "Hold up, I'm going with him because I don't trust you guys," which we see is justified. And then
Yeah.
they get there and they like argue back and forth about it for a while. And then finally Trista stands up and she's like, "I've been very polite and patient with you.
Yeah.
I've had enough." And she just like whips out that magic shield that
Yeah.
like that grown mages can't do. And she's like, "We can talk now." Like,
Yeah.
I love it.
She's like, I know I've grown, but I think I've been patient enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Enough.
Exactly.
Enough.
She's like, "I'm very impressed that I managed to hold it together for this long, but
Mhm.
it's time." Yeah.
Well, I like too when he realizes that she's upset and her braids aren't doing anything, and like how much
Mhm.
emotional control she must have for that to happen.
Yeah.
And this also too deals with like finding ways to overcome traumatic experiences because he is so afraid of lightning, and that she creates like a controlled environment for him to face that and overcome that fear and realize it's not something that can hurt him anymore.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool too.
Yeah. And she says, she's like, "If I had known what had happened to you, I probably would have stopped you another way."
Yeah.
But then later on, when I think it's right before they go up to the roof, and she like shocks him again, and he's like, "You just did it again! Like, how am I supposed to trust you?" And she's like, "Well, you weren't listening to me. Would you have believed me?" And he's like, "No." Like, okay, fine,
Well,
but
again.
yeah,
I was I'm like, the banter was good. The banter
yeah,
was good.
Yeah.
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 When he's asking her about like her foster siblings, and he's like, "There's more of you," and she's like, "Yeah, they're a lot worse than I am," and he's like, "Hmm," like just he's like, "I look forward to never meeting them." Like,
Man, it's so funny. I do want to see them reunited.
I know. Yeah, I love any time in any of these books when like the one that we're following is like, "Oh, I know that Sandry would respond like this," and it's like
Yeah.
how they've all kind of learned from each other's strengths, like not
Yeah.
just with their magic being connected, but just like as people. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. I love it.
Mhm.
And I like how they would talk about, like, there was parts in every book where one of them would say something of how you gotta like trust or love someone, like trying to say it to someone, and then we get the inner like dialogue of them being like, you know, that's how I felt when I was at the Circle of,
Mhm.
you know. And I'm like, man, y'all love each other. It's deep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
I missed Nico. I'm so glad we got because like he's Triss's main teacher, so it was fun to like have him
Yes,
here
love the
again.
Nico appearance.
He's
Yeah.
great. And I love watching him and Triss argue. Because, like, Nico's so polite about it, but, like, he's
Yeah.
still, he's arguing.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting that like the student is the one who notices that like maybe there's something between
I
Nico and
know.
Hume, whatever her name is.
Yeah,
Yeah. Triss does
I
not
know.
pick up on that from what I can tell. But
Yeah,
he's like,
no.
something's going on here.
Yeah.
Something's going on here.
Yeah.
And I forgot about that because I thought about that in the first 4 books.
Mhm.
Unless we're talking about something different.
No, that Nico and the main scientist woman in this city,
Oh
that
yes.
that maybe they had some
Yeah.
kind of a
You know,
fling.
it's funny because I do kind of get the impression that, like, Nico's very popular with the ladies. Like,
Yeah.
because they always make a point of describing how, like, put together he is and he's so charming and polite, blah, blah, blah. It's like,
Yeah.
Okay, that
And
tracks.
he's like the silver fox, you know. He's
He
got like
is!
lightly
He
gray hair.
is the
He's
silver
yeah,
fox.
he's yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
One day we're gonna be attracted to silver foxes. Unless
One day.
it's already upon us.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say one day. Like I've been attracted to silver foxes since I was like 18. So
Really? I have
there's
not,
something about
but,
the gray in the hair. Like it just does something for me. Like
You are ready
Harrison
for an old
Ford.
man.
okay.
Oh, you are ready for
I'm
grandpa.
married to a man 4 years older than me, so it tracks.
I mean, I am too, which is not that much. It's not that much older.
No, it's really not that much.
That's so much older, guys. Come on. No, I'm just kidding. It's not.
My grandparents were 11 years apart, so I think it's just something that like I never even thought of.
Mm-hmm.
My
Yes.
mom and my stepdad was 17 years apart.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, he met my
That's-
mom when she was 25.
Wow. That is a lot.
Mm.
Yes, I was also glad Nico was there when she just wanted to
Yes.
murder the serial killer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Dima as well. He was kind of, I think he was also one of the ones to sort of talk her down from it. He's like, I'm gonna have to execute you for murder. Like, don't make me do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I like that it was like, you know, well, but he deserves it. Yeah, but she doesn't deserve that. You know,
Right.
she doesn't deserve to have that on her conscience. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like this one and the one right before it with Daja and like the execution that happens at the end of that one, I think it's a very like nuanced way to talk about it, where it's like not necessarily about does somebody deserve to live or not, but like what does that do to you or to
Yeah.
like the people involved with that decision. I just think that's a very
Yeah.
mature thing to like introduce to the
Well, and you
series.
get like even with this too, it's another one where the killer is complicated, that like on some level we can understand why he's angry because there are good reasons to be angry, but that doesn't make him less of a monster for what he does.
Yeah.
And so it's like kind of holds these things in tension with each
Yeah.
other.
Well, and like Triss says to him, she's like, you know, you're angry about your life, which was horrible, but you orphaned this little girl twice
Yeah.
who never did anything to you. So
Yeah.
it's like knowing where somebody came from can give context, but it doesn't mean you're not responsible for your actions.
Right.
I know that's right.
Yep.
Wow. Is that tea?
Sorry, I got quiet.
It is, yeah.
I was like, ooh, I want some tea now.
Yeah.
Iced tea.
I have this like apple cider tea, right? And it's like really good.
Ooh,
I've been drinking lately.
that does sound good.
I gotta make me a couple batches of mulled wine.
I just had some like yesterday or the day before. It was so
Oh,
It's good.
listen,
I'm here for
nobody does mulled wine or vine like Ukrainians. They know what's up. They got like those little Christmas huts everywhere outside in the winter. You walk up to them, you tell them which kind you want. It's like maybe the equivalent to 60 cents for a nice cup.
Wow.
Wow.
That's great.
Seriously,
Keep that in
though.
mind.
Mhm.
If you ever shall find yourself in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'd love to go there. Like, there's so much travel I want to do.
Yeah.
Yep. Me too. I'm like still waiting to see if like people sign up, come to England with me, and we'll see if I can go. It'll be fun.
Man, have you been to England?
I've never been. I really want to go.
Oh, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice.
So
I mean, it's like any other Western city, but it's
The only international travel I've done is to Brazil, but my brother lived down there, so that's what took me down there.
So, like, I've done some international travel, but I've never been to Europe. So, like, I've been other places like in the Middle East and stuff, but yeah.
I'm mad. It's my most traveled place. I'm mad about it. It's not many countries in Europe I haven't been to. So I'm just like,
Yeah.
I was hoping I would get to go for my 10-year wedding anniversary, but spouse doesn't love to travel, so I don't think it's going to happen.
We're going to do something for our 15. So
go to Bali. Let me tell you. I've been trying to get people to go to Bali. I'm going by myself. It'll be okay.
I mean, it looks nice, but it's such a long plane flight.
It can be. I know a shortcut. I'll tell you later.
But
when I went
how
there,
do you know a shortcut on a plane, Bree?
Listen, there's just a place you can go and you can get it there shorter and cheaper. But I went there for a week thinking all I needed. I was there for a month and a half. I just was hanging out. And I had a really nice Airbnb, even though I don't support Airbnb no more. But when I did, it was real nice. It was $15 a night. Oh man, it was.
That's it? Oh Lord, that would be worth the flight.
Yeah, like literally for a real nice place, you shouldn't have to spend more than like $50 a night. So is that, and then the food is great. I do, in hindsight, I shouldn't have been there for a month and a half with no cell phone or no reason for anybody to contact me. I guess that was dangerous. And
yeah, honey.
And then there was times I was walking the beach by myself at night, just crying. And then one night, this man was like, "Hey, you want to get some fresh seafood?" I was like, "Okay." And I'm like following him in this jungle, but then we get to this like other side of like this island. This beach. And then the man was like, "What do you want to eat?" I was like, "Shrimp, lobster, prawns, anything." And he was like, "Okay." He went on the boat, got the food, and came back and made it for you fresh. So for every night, I was going through the little jungle. I was like, I was going to go
Bree. The fact that you followed a strange man through
into
the
jungle
makes me nervous.
It was awesome. The locals was there. They love black women. They were so nice. I saw some other black women. I was like, y'all, they treat us so nice here. They were like, yeah. They were nice, man. And I was just living it up. I did some dangerous thing. I got on a motorcycle with one guy to go to another beach.
Bree, I am relieved you made it back to us.
Yeah, seriously. I'm like, honey.
I think everyone's freaking out, but you shouldn't. Life is life.
But I don't want my friend to die in the middle of the jungle. Okay?
I know. I just followed the shrimp man into the jungle and it all worked out.
It's seriously my favorite place on earth is Bali, man. I'm telling you. I had a great time.
Bali is on my bucket list, but I won't follow any strange men into the jungle.
Oh, it was wonderful. Then once you go to Bali, all you got to do is spend like maybe $100 on the flight, and there you go in Melbourne. You in Melbourne? Hang out, roll around, get back on the plane. Just don't bring nothing on, because Australia don't play that shit. They don't. They'll cavity search your ass.
Oh my God.
They don't play that shit. Do not do it. But yeah, I love travel.
I like travel. The thing is like I haven't traveled internationally since I had kids. So
I traveled quite recently. If you I can give you some tips if you forgot. Listen, I was trying to get out of here. I take too many trips.
But the only piece of advice we don't take from Bree is don't follow strange men into the jungle.
No matter how enticing their
where
seafood.
you are, do not follow the strange men into the jungle.
And I was praying because in Bali, where I was at, the island I was at, you can pay a guy money, get on his motorcycle, he'll take you anywhere. And I was like, this is how they take you to die. But I said, do as the local.
You followed the strange men into the jungle.
Yeah, and they were
without even thinking about it.
They were just tiny men on these tiny ass motorcycle. And I was like, I'm thick, dude. Like, are you sure? He was like, no problem. Just get on the helmet. Hold tight, no problem. I'm like, dude, I'm twice your weight and twice your height. And we're both on this moped looking thing. We may die. But I said, I'd rather die living than die. I'd rather die from living than dying from doing nothing. So I said, let me get on this motherfucker. And then I got on it. And then I went to the most clearest beach. It's called Baby Beach. The clearest beach I've ever seen in my life. It was beautiful. And then I met a bunch of Italians. And then we went out and had Italian food that night. On them, of course. I got a lot of meals paid for me there. But yeah, what a good time.
I couldn't do it.
Could not be me, but
I mean, I do feel like traveling is different. Like, is like sometimes you do, because like I've done stuff that like I probably normally wouldn't. I don't know.
No, the thing
is, there's always at least one other human with me.
The thing is,
I traveled by myself. I traveled by myself too, though.
The thing is, I would never do what I've done in Europe or Asia in America.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Well,
never.
No.
When I go, and I'm not saying, oh, it's super safe, but America is a dangerous ass place. And not saying the world isn't, but people.
But like statistically, a lot less.
A lot
like
less.
It is a lot
they're
less.
They're not dangerous in the ways that I was. Like, to me, and I'm big on vibes. I really didn't think this man was trying to take me, because this is what I was thinking. I was like, man, this poor man's coming up to me. He's about to tell me, I've seen you at the beach 6 nights in a row at this time crying. Like, ma'am, you can't be around here. Just keep crying like that. But he was like, oh, do you want to go and get some seafood? And I was like, so I was like, this man, and this been one of the men who's like working at one of the little hut things.
One of these days, you're gonna have to tell me why you went to Bali to cry on the beach, because that sounds like a story I need to hear.
In short, I did Peace Corps Ukraine as an only Black woman within 40 miles. The first Black person that anyone ever met. And it was physically, emotionally, every part of traumatizing. That is the most traumatizing.
No, I can believe that.
So I said, before I return back to my life of America, I need to go somewhere and deal with this. So I thought I'll go see my friend in Germany. Had a great time, but kept crying. And then I was like, oh, I got other friends to see, because that's how I like to travel. I like to go travel where I know someone who lives there. So
that's me too. It's like, if I travel to a place, as long as I know one person, I'm okay.
Yeah, right. But then I said, no, you need to be alone. You don't need to be with anybody. You need to be alone. So I was in Germany, and I bought a flight to Bali via Singapore. I spent a couple days there for like $300 at the time. And I was supposed to just stay in Bali for a week, and I had crying.
Wow.
Well, I'm glad you had a nice place to process where you got lost.
Right.
Me and the seafood crying.
We all process in our own ways. I cry in the shower in Brazil, so
yeah, just crying. Yeah, I did the same thing in Aruba. I was supposed to be there for like a couple days and was there for a month and a half too. But I have a friend, her family lives there, and they have like this, like a second house for visitors. So I was like, I don't have to pay for anything. I just gotta pay for my flight. I don't pay for food or like lodge. And then her family was just so nice and welcoming, and they didn't want me to leave. And I was like, no, I'll stay an extra day. An extra day kept turning into a month and a half. And they didn't want me to leave then. They were like, oh, we can get you a job and everything. Like, they was like, we don't want you to leave.
Wow.
Yeah.
I do miss authentic Brazilian food, though. Stuff in Brazil is just different. It just is different.
Is it fresh? I can imagine. Stuff ain't fresh like it used to be in America.
Mm.
Oh, go. Yeah.
I feel like when I bit into an apple the other day, I said, "Why this is so waxy? What's going on with this? What's on top of this?" Made my gums itch, but I'm allergic to them. But I thought I would just test and see if I still was.
I
I'm
feel like
worried for you.
I
One of
feel
these
like
days I'm gonna get like this message saying, she died, and it's gonna be something bonkers and
I
banana pants,
know.
and I'm just gonna laugh, even though I'm gonna miss you like crazy.
I'm learning that every day I need to be like, I'm glad Bree is still with us.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Goodness.
I just be trying to live my life.
I mean, you're allowed to live your life. Don't worry, but like,
I do think I'm like more risk. I've become a lot more risk averse since becoming a parent.
Oh yeah.
that
Like
makes
I
sense.
used to be much more like, oh, it'll be fine, whatever. And I think since having kids, that's not
yeah.
as true.
Because you got to anticipate so much shit as a parent.
Yeah. Well, and because they don't know what to be worried about, you have to be worried for them.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Mommy things.
Yeah.
That's why I thank God that I got 12 pregnancies this year. I mean, 12 periods this year.
I was like, you what?
Just 12 pregnancies.
Only 12.
Bree!
I'm like, Bree, I'm just becoming
up.
increasingly concerned.
Like, who the hell is getting pregnant 12 damn times in 1 year? Is that even possible? Like,
Technically,
I
yes.
guess.
If you miscarried shortly thereafter, yeah.
I
And you
really
weren't smart
hope
and give
that.
yourself a break.
Oh my God. That would be hell on earth.
Mhm.
Hell on earth. Do you hear me? Oh, that's awful.
I'm glad I'm done being pregnant.
I hope you are.
Oh,
Well,
I am.
I know a lot of people be like, "Oh my God, I'm sending my son off to college and picking my other kid up from preschool."
Oh no. Listen, we like that ship has sailed.
Wow,
You know.
that's crazy. Babies, a lot of people want them.
I'm glad I have the two I've got, but that's
I'm glad I got a lot of outside of the womb kids.
mhm,
You know what I mean? Nieces,
Yeah.
nephews.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the godmom to like 4 kids, and I'm like, I hope y'all parents stay alive forever because it's gonna be, I'm gonna be crying. I'm gonna be crying, screaming, asking the Lord to deliver me.
Yeah, I'm good to just be the aunt that spoils the nephews. Like, I'm
Yeah.
good with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think I would do well as an aunt. Like
Mhm.
I'm definitely an aunt. My niece was like, "Oh, I need $40 for my," because she's turning 14 on Thursday. I mean, sorry, what's today? Sunday.
Thursday.
Sunday she's turning 14, and she's like, "Oh, I need $40 for this." I said, "Oh, no problem. Cash app. Don't spend it all in one place." You know what I mean?
I wish we lived closer to family so our kids knew them better. That's I think hard as we're also spread out and
mm,
like they do have you know, some cousins on my side and then like extended cousins on my husband's side, but not like directly. So
Is his family like all together? Like when, like in my family, if I go to my grandma's house, I'm going to find her siblings, children, her siblings' children, her children. We all grew up together. So I don't know who's first, who's second, who's third, who's extended anymore. It's just
Yeah.
aunties and uncles.
Yeah, like for family event get together stuff, yeah, it's like that. It's
Yeah,
like
I'd be like,
yeah, which is really different because I never grew up with that.
yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot of people.
It's intense, man. It's intense. Like 2 days ago was my great aunt birthday, and then in a couple days will be another great aunt birthday. And I know they're gonna be bitching about it, like, who did you call first? I'm like, your birthday's on different days.
Yeah, that's
Where I
such a-
know that she's your favorite. Man,
Oh no.
I didn't even say nothing. I be getting attacked. My great aunts and uncles, they be like, when I'm around them, why aren't you making me homemade ice cream? I just got here. They're like, I know your granny taught you all of that. Go ahead and make it for us. I'm in the dang kitchen fighting for my life. Yeah.
Well, you're from Louisiana too, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's where my in-laws are also.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Families are so big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buku cousins. For sure.
Yeah. But then it's funny because like my husband's siblings don't have kids. So it's just
Dang, that's crazy.
mhm.
My sister keeps telling me, when are you gonna make me an auntie? And I said, well, hell freeze over. You took that torch and you carried it. You gave us two. Look at us. But y'all gonna get empty womb syndrome from me. Nothing over here.
All right.
ASMR.
Okay.
Well, I don't know how we went off track.
No, I don't either.
And I don't know if it was my fault.
It's okay.
It happens.
Good.
Or like it is your fault.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know how we got here either, but yeah. Well,
Shatterglass. Yeah.
Shatterglass.
I was thinking
Great
too,
book.
I was like,
Great book.
Would
We
10
loved
out of
it.
10
Yes.
recommend the series?
Absolutely.
9 out of
Absolutely.
10, 4 out of 5
Yeah.
stars.
It's been fun reading them all year.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm so glad that you hosted this, Bethany, because
Yeah.
like I mentioned in previous live shows that I for some reason never got into Tamora Pierce when I was actually that age. So
Mhm.
this
Same,
has
I got
been
into her
great
as
for
an
me.
adult.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This has been great for me. Like I
Exactly.
having the time of my life here.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. I love getting more people into her because she was
Yeah.
one of my favorites growing up. So it's been fun to revisit them and
Yeah.
bring more people in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And she really was ahead of her time. You
Oh,
read something
completely.
else, it's giving fat phobia,
Mhm.
it's giving ableism right off page, it's
Yep.
giving racism immediately.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like sometimes I'll read something that was just published within the last couple years and I'm like, excuse me, Tamora Pierce would never. Like she was
She would not.
like she was doing better like decades ago. Get on her level, please.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep. Well, thanks everybody for joining me with this, and yeah, we'll see what we're gonna do next
If
year.
there's
I don't
another
know.
middle
Yeah,
grade
yeah.
series you want to go through, like, let's chat about it.
Okay. All right. Well, have a good night, everyone, and I will see you later.
No,
Bye.